Tonight we are commemorating the martyrdom of Imam Ali ibn Musa Raza alayhi salatu wassalam. And when asked, he said the biggest signs of the Imam of your time or any Imam is the knowledge that he possesses from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the dua that he makes to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He should never ever say that I don't know, because he is not a man made, he is God appointed Imam. The one who is appointed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala should not lack in knowledge, and therefore one of the biggest signs of the Imam is that he knows whatever people ask him. And the ratio of knowledge will be 2 to 27 when the Imam al-Islam comes, when the 12th Imam al-Islam comes. So therefore we will recognize our Imam through the knowledge that he possesses. The 8th Imam al-Islam is known to be Alim Ali Muhammad. Allahumma is known to be Alim Ali Muhammad, the learned of the Ali Muhammad. When asked, Maula, what about the rest of you? Are you not all Alim of Ali Muhammad? They said, of course we are. But he had more chance to prove his knowledge through the debates that Ma'mun organized for him. Ma'mun wanted to degrade the Imam al-Islam, and he always organized people to debate with him and ask him questions so he could degrade the Imam al-Islam and say, look, he doesn't know this. He wanted to get one chance at least where the Imam could not answer the questions, so he could tell the people that, look, here is a question that he could not answer. So he always organized different religions to come and ask questions from the Imam al-Islam. He organized different scholars from different fields within Islam, from outside Islam, and people continuously ask questions from the Imam al-Islam. And through that, Shaykh Tusi says, Hujaj al-Radawiyya, meaning the 8th Imam al-Islam gave so many proofs that all the Shias, there are about 13 sects in the Shias, all the Shias that reach up to the 8th Imam, they don't stop at the 8th Imam, they go all the way up to the 12th Imam. All the divisions within the Shias are before the 8th Imam al-Islam. The Waqifiyya that stopped after the 7th Imam. But the 8th Imam had so much chance of debating with the people that he made it prove to them that if you believe in 8 Imams, you must go all the way up to the 12th Imam al-Islam. That's why Hujjat al-Radawiyya, the proofs of the 8th Imam, and Alim Ali Muhammad, because he had a chance to prove his knowledge to the people, to all the masses and the government, and all the Muslims in that world in his time. So he had so many debates with so many people. Now, I want to just mention a few debates of the 8th Imam al-Islam. When Ma'mun used to ask him so many questions, one of the greatest historians in the Shia history says that the most learned Abbasi Khalifa, the most learned Abbasid Caliph was Ma'mun himself, because of the 2 years he had spent with the 8th Imam al-Islam. The most learned Abbasi Khalifa was Ma'mun because of the 2 years he spent with the 8th Imam. During those 2 years he had learned so much, and yet he still poisoned the 8th Imam. So he was a murderer of an Imam. And yet he himself, the Khalifa himself, had learned so much from the 8th Imam that he would organize debates with the greatest of the scholars of his own faith, and he would tell them, prepare yourselves to debate a Shia. So they would prepare themselves, and he would say, now debate with me. They would say, but why should we debate with you? He said, if you could defeat me, then you can defeat a Shia. And if you can't defeat me, then you can't defeat a Shia. That's how much knowledge he had gained from the 8th Imam, just by the debates of the 8th Imam al-Islam. And they say that the most learned of the scholars in his time, he would defeat them with his left hand. That's how learned he had become. Just 2 years with the presence of the 8th Imam. The 8th Imam continuously debated because of the different religions that would come to the 8th Imam. One of the times, Ma'mun organized a debate with the Jews and Christians, Zoroastrians, and all other different faiths that he had known in his time, to come and debate with Imam Raza al-Islam. Now, while he was organizing this debate, he told all the people who were always surrounding the 8th Imam not to inform the 8th Imam that Ma'mun is organizing a debate. So the Imam would not prepare himself for this grand debate that he is organizing against the Imam, thinking if I don't tell him, he will not be prepared, and that's how I will have him defeated. The day came, the Jews, Christians, and all the different, the chief rabbi and the archbishop of the Christians, the Catholicos, and all the different major religions, the biggest of their scholars came with different scholars from their own faith to debate with the Imam al-Islam. And the whole court of Ma'mun was filled with all of these scholars. When he became pleased that yes, the biggest of the scholars have come with their books, he asked for the Imam to be brought into the court. So he sent for the Imam. He said to one of his office bearers, he says, go and tell our crown prince, Ali ibn Musa Raza, to come and debate. The person he had sent off to call the 8th Imam al-Islam was a follower of the 8th Imam al-Islam, was a Shia, but was not so strong, but he still believed in the Imam al-Islam. So he was very worried, came running to the Imam al-Islam and said, Yabna Rasulullah, O son of the Holy Prophet, Ma'mun has called you to the court. So the Imam said, he's called me to the court and you are worried? What's the worry for you? He said, Ma'mun has organized a debate for you. And there are all of these learned scholars from different faiths, from Jews, Christians, Zoroastrians, Hindus, and whatever you can think of, all the different faiths. They've come to debate with you. The Imam said, are you unsure of my knowledge? He said, no, Maula, I'm not unsure about your knowledge. He said, then why are you so worried about this debate that I'm going to be having? He said, Maula, I don't doubt your knowledge, but these people who always go into debates, they will twist around the things so much so that they will try and confuse you to get wrong answers from you. He said, listen to me. When I answer all of these scholars in their own language, from their own books, then the person worth seeing will be Ma'mun himself and not me. You will need to see how he looks when I answer all of these learned people from their own books in their own languages. He said, now I want to ask you one question. He said, yes, Maula, what is your question? He said, why do you think that Ma'mun has organized this debate between me and all of these scholars? He said, Maula, if you want to know the truth, he wants to degrade you. He wants your followers to think that you're not so worthy. He wants your followers to think less of you. He said, that's what I want all of my followers to know. He's not sincere with me. He wants to degrade me. He wants to disrespect me. He wants all of my Shias and all of my followers to have less respect for me. That's why he's organized this debate. Now the Imam al-Islam started walking. And when the Imam al-Islam was walking, the Jalal and the Haiba of the Imam al-Islam, the grace and the majesty of the Imam al-Islam, the nur on his face, and the light in his body when he was walking to the court, as if all the walls were saying labbaik to the Imam al-Islam, as if the earth was kissing his feet, as if the heavens were saying, Maula, come and take your place and answer the questions and tell the people what an Imam is like when Allah sends an Imam. The Imam al-Islam walked into the court and he would always sit on a pulpit, on a mimbar, and never on a throne. So he sat down on the mimbar, the Imam sat down, and Ma'mun said to the Imam, he said, Yabna Rasulullah, O son of the Holy Prophet, some of these people have come to ask you some questions. Not that I have invited them to debate with you. He said, some of these people have some questions they want to ask you. I hope you don't mind. They're in large numbers. The Imam al-Islam sat down smiling. He said, fine. Do you all wish for me to start your debate? Do you wish me to ask the questions, or do all of you want to start asking me questions? So all of those people said, is that how confident he is of his own knowledge? That he says, you can ask me a question or I can ask you a question. So they said, Yabna Rasulullah, son of the Holy Prophet, we are so many in numbers. And we wish you to start asking us questions. So he said, okay, I'll start with the Christians. So he turned to the Christians because they had a problem with Tawheed and others as well. But here, the Christians believe in Trinity. Tathlis. They believe in Hazrat Isa to be the son of God. Ibnullah. Isa is son of God. So Hazrat Imam Raza alayhi salatu wassalam, He turned towards the Catholicos, the Archbishop or the Pope or whoever they had called him at the time. Catholicos, as they've mentioned. Usquf-i-Azam, the Archbishop. So he turned to him and he said, I believe in Jesus. I believe in Hazrat Isa alayhi salam. He was a prophet. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent him as a messenger. He was a servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Servant, not son. So he was a servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah sent him with great message. Allah gave him a book. Allah gave him a lot of powers. But one thing Hazrat Isa was short of, he was weak in performing his namaz and roza, his prayers and his fasting. As soon as the Imam al-Islam said that Hazrat Isa was weak in ibadat, in namaz and roza, the Catholicos couldn't take it. He said, who has called you the alim of the Muslims? Who has called you a learned person? Have you not heard that Jesus never slept in the night? He was always doing namaz. He was always praying during the night. And he never ate anything during the day. He was always fasting during the days. So the Imam turned to him and said, so you admit Hazrat Isa used to do the salat and som. So you admit that he used to do namaz and roza. He used to pray and fast. He said, yes. He said, then tell me, what is prayer and fast? He said, it's an ibadat. He said, prayers and fasting are ibadat. They are a service to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whoever serves Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And not the son of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He was a servant. He said, Maulana said, now it's your time to ask a question. He said, you've not left any position for me to ask any questions. Our whole faith is based on calling Jesus a son of God. And now you've just proven that he is servant of God. What question do you want me to ask you? Imam Raza went in to ask him more questions and said, look at the Bible and I will read out things for you from the Bible. Tell the people if I read them correctly or not. The Imam read some parts. He said, I promise to you all that this man reads the Bible better than we the Christians read it. And the Imam turned towards the Jews, the chief rabbi, Rasul Jalut, and he said, why is it that the Jews believe in all the prophets before Hazrat Moses, but not the prophets after Moses? They don't believe in Jesus, they don't believe in the Holy Prophet of Islam, Hazrat Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the chief rabbi answered, he said, because Janabi Musa, Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, showed miracles that the prophets that came after him, they could not show the miracles like that. He said, like what? He said, like his hand that he would put in his pocket and take it out, then there will be light from that house, like his staff that would turn into a python. He said, yes, these are the two miracles mentioned in the Holy Quran. We believe in these two miracles of Moses. Imam Raza said, but the prophets that came after Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, they showed greater miracles than Hazrat Musa. Hazrat Isa used to give life to the dead. Hazrat Rasul Khuda showed all the miracles that all the previous prophets showed. He even cut the moon in half. He said, yes, but these people, that mentioned these miracles about other prophets, we have not seen these miracles ourselves. We have not seen the miracle of Hazrat Isa and Hazrat Muhammad. We've only heard these miracles from the followers of these faiths. Imam Raza turned around to the chief rabbi and he said, so are you telling me that you saw the miracles of Hazrat Musa yourself? He said, I haven't seen these miracles, these two miracles of Hazrat Musa myself, but I have read them in authentic books. Imam Raza said, okay, what if I give you references from your own book about the last messenger and about Hazrat Isa? He said, from our book? He said, yes, in Torah. When I was translating this into English, Kitab al-Tawheed, where this debate has come, and it has also come in other books, I was thinking to myself, Imam Raza is giving a proof from the Torah to a Jew. Torah, the Old Testament, the New Testament, they've all gone through alteration, through tahrif, through changes. Is this proof still present in the present day Torah, or has it been taken out? If it has been taken out, then even if I write it today, then many of the Jews may say the Muslims have made it up. But if it still exists, then hang on, is this the Imam that we truly believe in? Or have we understood the Imam alayhi salam that lived 13 centuries ago? Wallahi, I stopped the translation and I went online to try and find a copy of the Old Testament. Gospel.com, gateway to Bible. Bible is a name of Old Testament, the Psalms of David, and the New Testament. All three, Torah, Zabur, Injil, make the Bible. So I found a website and I looked for the verses that Imam Raza alayhi salam had used in Arabic. I looked for the Arabic Gospel, the Old Testament. I found exactly the same words that Imam Raza alayhi salam had used from the Torah. And I found an English translation for those words, and even the present day Torah had those words that Imam Raza alayhi salam used to prove Hazrat Isa and the Holy Prophet from Torah. You see, we believe in the Imam who knew that both Torah and Injil, including Zabur, but Torah and Injil will go through change. And his eyes saw the changes. And he realized that even after the changes, the verses that will still remain are the verses that he used in his debate. The Imam used the verses that he knew that even after going through change, these verses will remain in the Torah and they will remain in the Injil. So I looked at those verses and I'll give you the translation. He said, Imam al-Islam asked, he said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said in Torah, وَتَجَلَّ رَبُّكَ, these are the verses that he used, and your Lord showed his manifestation. Ala Tur Sayna, on Mount Sinai. He says, who did he give his manifestation to on Mount Sinai? So the chief rabbi answered, he said, this was for Moses, for Hazrat Musa alayhi salam. He said, fine. And he said, in the same book, in the same Torah, in the next verse it says, وَتَجَلَّ رَبُّكَ عَلَى جَبَلِ السَّعِيرِ, and your Lord showed his manifestation on Mount Sire. That was the translation for Jabal Sa'ir in English, on Mount Sire. He said, who did Allah send his wahi and his manifestation on Mount Sire? He said, we don't know. He said, I'll tell you, there is only one prophet that claims that wahi came to him on Mount Sire, and that is Jesus, Hazrat Isa alayhi salam. He said in the next verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَتَجَلَّ رَبُّكَ عَلَى جَبَلِ Faran, on Mount Paran. In English, this is called Jabal Faran, Mount Paran. He said Mount Paran is a chain of mountains in Mecca. Amongst one of those mountains, there is a mountain in which there is Ghar Hira. And there is one man who claimed that the wahi of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala came to him in Mount Hira. On Mount Paran in Ghar Hira, in the cave of Hira, and that is Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So the chief rabbi turned to the Imam and said, but how do you know all of this? He said, let me tell you more from your book. It says, and in Quran also it says, and the people who always ask you, why do you believe in 12 Imams? Surah number 5, verse number 12. 5 and 12. Inshallah, you will not forget. Surah number 5, Surah Ma'idah, verse number 12. Allah kept an order for the people to memorize it easily. 5 and 12. Surah number 5, Surah Ma'idah, verse number 12. وَبَعَثْنَا فِيهِمْ إِثْنَا عَشَرًا نَقِيبًا, and we gave 12 chieflets to Bani Israel. The Holy Prophet said, Ali minni bi manzilati Haruna min Musa. And then he said, I'm like Musa, Ali is like Harun, and my ummah will be like the ummah of Hazrat Musa. Just like Musa had 12 successors, I will also have 12 successors. So there were 12 tribes and there are 12 successors, the Holy Prophet said. So in Quran and also in the Torah. So Hazrat Imam Raza said, he said, in your Torah it says that the last messenger will have 12 successors. He said, now pick up the Torah and I will read for you. So he picked up the Torah and he said, just open up some pages. He opened up and Imam Raza alayhi salam started reading. When he started reading, the chief rabbi closed Torah and he turned to Imam Raza. He said, how do you know what page I opened? You are there and I'm standing here. How do you know without looking what page I opened? Imam al-Islam said, if I can't tell you what page you opened without looking, then I am not hujjat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. he looked and he said, how do you know all of these things from Torah? He said, these 12 successes that you're reading about, if you want me to show you any one of the miracles that Moses or Jesus showed, I will show you those miracles. He said, but how do you know all of these things? How can you do that? He said, those 12 successes of the Holy Prophet, the last messenger, his 12 successes, I'm the 8th one of those 12. He turned around and said, oh people, I bear witness, if there is a proof of God on earth, if there is a hujjat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on earth, then I bear witness that this Ali ibn Musa Raza is the hujjat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allahumma salli ala. Can we have a better salawat, please? The 8th Imam al-Islam went into different books and gave proofs from the books of their own followers. When the Imam al-Islam was answering the people and he was debating with them while he was asking questions from those people and answering from their own books, there came a time when Ma'mun stood up on his throne and he said, enough is enough. You're asking too many questions from my crown prince. I will not take it anymore and I'm leaving. The Imam smiled and he looked at the people and he looked at his own Shias and he said, see, I told you, Ma'mun's face will be worth seeing. When I answer all the people from their own books, in their own languages, not once the Imam al-Islam said, tell me what language these people are speaking. Bring me a translator, bring me an interpreter. As the people were asking the questions, the Imam al-Islam were answering in the same language, in the same pace, from the same books. These are the Imams alayhimus salam that we the Shias believe in. So Ma'mun got up and he left and he said, the more I try and degrade him, the more strength he shows and the more strong his Shias become. This is the Imam al-Islam. The Imam asked many different questions from different faiths. There came a time when one of the scholars got up and he said, O Ali ibn Musa Raza, what is the proof that you are an Imam? What is the proof that you are a Hujjat of Allah? He said, the proof for any Hujjat, any Imam is the knowledge that he possesses and his dua. If it is an Imam, then Allah will never reject his dua and the knowledge will be special. He will have special knowledge from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He said there are many other signs, infallibility and other things that I can go into, but two major signs. One is knowledge and one is the dua of the Imam alayhi salam. So many people, when they started asking questions, they realized all of those different scholars said, we all say that this man is more learned than any of the other faiths that we have in this world today. These were the biggest scholars that were asking questions from Imam Ali ibn Musa al-Raza alayhi salatu wa salam. One of the questions that Hazrat Jafar Muta'amili has posed in his book, Al-Hayat al-Siyasi lil-Imam Raza alayhi salam, the political life of Imam Raza, he says, why did Imam alayhi salam accept to be the crown prince for Ma'mun? He said, Imam did not accept it. Ma'mun imposed it on him. Because when he asked, I want you to be my crown prince, the Imam said, I refuse. He said, but I am telling you, you have to be my crown prince. Imam said, if you're asking me, then I'm refusing. But if you're imposing it on me, then decide whatever you like. It is your decision, not mine. If you're asking me, then I refuse to be your crown prince. Sayyid Jafar Muta'amili answers, he says, on the way to Khurasan, the Imam had stopped in Nishapur, and in Nishapur, he gave the famous hadith Silsilatul Dhahab, when he had said, Kalimatu la ilaha illallah hisni, faman dakhala hisni amina min adhabi. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that La ilaha illallah is my fort, whoever enters my fort is safe from my wrath. And as soon as the Imam al-Islam said this and his camel moved off, the Imam stopped and said, Bishara'itiha wa ana min shurutiha. And I'm one of the conditions of La ilaha illallah. Adla Jafar Murtamli says, he says, here the Imam al-Islam is telling the people, look, I am one of the conditions of Tawheed of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I'm in shurut se la ilaha illallah. I am one of the conditions of, if you don't accept me, then you have rejected the Tawheed, because I am not telling you to believe in me. Allah has appointed me as his hujjat. So if you reject me, you have rejected Allah's command. So the Imam al-Islam was saying that he is one of the conditions of the Tawheed of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But the message that Imam al-Islam is giving, that I'm one of the conditions of Tawheed. If he is the condition of Tawheed, then what about the crown prince being a crown prince for Ma'mun? How can he be the crown prince of a king or a Khalifa who is not even infallible, while the Imam al-Islam is infallible Imam, Hujjat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he said he had already put it in the minds of the people that forget the crown prince. Forget this title that he's trying to give me of being his crown prince. One of the conditions that the Imam al-Islam had placed, he said, okay, I accept with one condition, I will not give any ruling. So Ma'mun said, I accept. You see, if all of you said, we want you to be our judge, and I say, I will not give any ruling, but I will be the judge. So when tomorrow you come up to me and say, okay, give a ruling, I say, I decided not to give any rulings. So what kind of a judge are you if you're not going to be giving any rulings? The Imam said, I will not give any ruling, I will not give any command whatsoever. And yet, he is the crown prince. So when tomorrow a person was brought to the court of Ma'mun, who had stolen something, was a thief, when he was brought to the court of Ma'mun, Ma'mun said, have you really stolen something? He said, yes, I'm a thief. He said, do you know that if you confess to your crime, your hand will be cut? He said, yes, but who will cut my hand? Who will give the ruling for my hand to be cut? You, O Ma'mun? You're not a judge, you're not a Khalifa. Your father used Baytul Mal to buy a slave girl. That was your mother. So you're not a ruler, you belong to all of the Ummah. He said, how dare you disrespect me like that? He said, Ibn Rasulullah, son of the Holy Prophet, you give a ruling. He said, hang on, I placed a condition in the beginning, I will not give any rulings. He said, but today you have to give a ruling because he's disrespecting me. He is being disrespectful to me. The Imam al-Islam said, don't ask me for any rulings. He said, no, you have to say who is right and who is wrong. The Imam al-Islam said, if you want to really know the truth, then he is right and you are wrong. That was a point when he turned around and said, this is the day when he decided that he wants to kill the Imam al-Islam. Because he had tried everything to degrade the Imam al-Islam. He tried everything to have the Shias lose their respect for their Imam. And the more he wanted to degrade the Imam al-Islam, the more respect that the Shias were having for their Imam. So this time, he said, let's think of a plan where I can kill this person or I can finish the Shias from respecting him. The Imam al-Islam had been in Khurasan for over 2 years now. And for more than a year, there was a drought in Khurasan. Before I go on to speaking just a few words in Urdu for the Masahib, just last 5 minutes in English. Ma'mun tried everything. And because of that drought, he said, I will make Imam Raza make a dua. So he called all of the people who were experts in predicting if there will be rain this year or not. Just like you have experts of weather today. So he called in a few experts and they came in. When they came in, he said, do you think there will be rain this year? They all said, no, there will be no rain this year. It will be another dry season. He said, make sure you predict right. He said, no, we are sure, we're all sure that there will be no rain this year. So he called in all the different experts. He said, what do you all predict? There will be rain this year or not? So they all said, no, this year it will be another dry year. Ma'mun was really happy and he said, now tell Imam Raza. He obviously didn't say Imam Raza. He said, now tell Ali ibn Musa Raza to go and do namaz-e-istisqa, the prayer for rain. A few people came to the Imam al-Islam and said, Ibn Rasulullah, Ma'mun has asked you to lead the prayer for istisqa. He said, my grandfather, the Holy Prophet, and my grandfather, the Imam, the first Imam, they both used to do 3 days of fasting and then they would do namaz-e-istisqa. During these 3 days, you have a chance of telling all the people in Khurasan that I will be leading namaz-e-istisqa. So Ma'mun became really pleased. He said, this is my best chance. I will bring in all the Shias and all the Muslims to come and see Imam Raza being disrespected and degraded because his dua will not be accepted because there will be no rain this year. So he started announcing to all the people in Khurasan. He said, tell the people to go and announce that there will be a namaz in 3 days' time that Ali ibn Musa Raza will be leading. Imam told all of his Shias, he said, fast for 3 days and I will lead the prayers. And tell all the women and children to also come. All the people started walking with the Imam. Imam started walking without his shoes. He opened up his amama and he turned around his abba upside down. He said, tell all the people to show as much modesty before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as possible. Put yourself down and be so respectful, and with tears walk into the plains where we will be praying in the open ground for the rain from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Everyone started walking. The Imam, when he started walking out, he said, Allahu Akbar. As soon as he said Allahu Akbar, as if the heavens were saying Allahu Akbar, as if the mountains were saying Allahu Akbar, as if the trees and the entire universe were saying Allahu Akbar, as if the Imam, when he was speaking, there was labbaik from everywhere. The Imam al-Islam walked into the streets and the people started crying. The people who did not even believe in the Imam al-Islam, if they looked at him once, they said, we bear witness, this must be the Imam al-Islam. So they all started walking behind the Imam al-Islam. As he walked into the plains, he said, everyone, I will lead 2 rakat prayer and you all pray behind me. He told everyone, this is mustahab prayer, but we can do it with Jamaat. This is the only mustahab prayer that we can do with Jamaat. In the absence of the Imam, namaz Eid as well, but namaz Eid is wajib when the Imam al-Islam is here. So Imam al-Islam started 2 rakat namaz istisqa, and as soon as he finished, he stood up for a small talk. While he was talking, people started seeing the clouds approach. So the people wanted to run because the rain is going to come. They were outside the town. He said, all of you wait here. These clouds are not for you. They are going to the next town. The clouds that will come to you, they will come for your town. I will tell you beforehand. When I tell you to go, you go back to your houses. When you make it to your houses, that's when the rain will come. So the Imam al-Islam started praying and he raised his hands and said, oh Allah, send down rain for these people. As soon as the Imam's hand started coming down, the clouds approached and he said, oh people, now go back to your houses. There will be rain as soon as you reach your homes. So the people came back home. As soon as the people came back to the town, suddenly there was thunder and rain, and Ma'mun called in all the people who were experts in predicting if there was going to be rain or not. He said, did you not tell me that there will be no rain this year? They said, we promise you, there were no signs of rain this year. It is the prayers of this man called Ali ibn Musa Raza that has brought this rain. As soon as all of those people, these experts, said to Ma'mun that we assure you this year was going to be another dry year, it was because of the prayers of this man called Ali ibn Musa al-Raza that this rain has come. Ma'mun told them, he said, you've told me why the rain has come. Don't tell the people why the rain came. Because the followers will increase and their faith will be stronger than ever before. I do not wish for the people to have strong faith. This is the Imam alayhi salam. One of the greatest signs of the Imam. Never ever tell yourself that when the 12th Imam comes, how will I recognize him? The Imam needs no recognition. When the false claims come of Imamat, ask them questions. Ask them to show you miracles. Not the real Imam alayhi salam. Because the real Imam alayhi salam is a living miracle in himself. You will never doubt that this is Imam from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When the 12th Imam comes, you will not have any doubts. You will recognize the Imam, but will you follow the Imam alayhi salam or not? That will be your decision. But you will all recognize the Imam alayhi salam. And inshallah, we will all follow the Imam alayhi salam. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah, on this night of the shahadat of Imam Raza, for the sake of Imam Raza, make us all recognize the 12th Imam alayhi salam. And give us the true ma'rifah and true recognition of the 12th Imam alayhi salam. And make us obey the Imam alayhi salam. कौन है किस इमाम अलैहि सलाम की, just a few minutes in Urdu, किस इमाम अलैहि सलाम की शब शहादत में जमा है, जिस इमाम को गरीबुल गुरबा कहा जाता है. یہ اردو والا غریب نہیں ہے. غریب اردو میں ہوتا ہے جو جس کے پاس کچھ نہ ہو، اور عربی میں غریب اسے کہتے ہیں جو وطن سے بہت دور ہو. امام رضا علیہ السلام مدینے سے سب سے زیادہ دور ہیں، اسی لیے آپ کو کہا جاتا ہے غریب الغربا. اور ایک وجہ یہ بھی ہے کہ ہر امام کے پاس کوئی اور ہے. جنت البقیع میں 4 امام اکٹھے ہیں. پیغمبر کے پاس ان کی بیٹی بھی ہیں. امیر المؤمنین کے پاس حضرت آدم حضرت نوح ہیں. امام حسین کے پاس ان کے بیٹے حضرت علی اکبر ہیں. شہداء کربلا ہیں، حضرت عباس ہیں، سب ہیں. امام موسیٰ کاظم کے پاس امام محمد تقی ہیں. امام علی نقی کے پاس امام حسن عسکری. ہر امام کے پاس کوئی نہ کوئی ان کے ساتھ ہے. لیکن امام رضا علیہ السلام بالکل اکیلے ہیں، اس لیے آپ غریب الغربا ہیں، مشہد میں بالکل تنہا. لیکن اس تنہائی کے باوجود آج غریب الغربا کے کتنے ماننے والے ہیں؟ آج ملینز، ہنڈریڈز آف ملینز امام رضا کے ماننے والے ہیں. آج رات اگر آپ جا کے دیکھیں گے نا تو امام کے حرم میں جانے کی جگہ نہیں ہے. 500,000 ملین کی کیپیسٹی ہے امام رضا کے حرم کی، لیکن آج کئی ملین لوگ پورے ایران سے، پوری دنیا سے لوگ آتے ہیں امام رضا علیہ السلام کی شہادت کے لیے. تو آج وہ غریب الغربا غریب نہیں ہیں، آج امام کے بہت زیادہ ماننے والے ہیں. لیکن آج بھی جنت البقیع میں ٹوٹی ہوئی قبریں موجود ہیں. رسول کی ایک بیٹی کی قبر آج بھی ٹوٹی ہوئی ہے. جس بی بی کے صدقے میں پوری دنیا میں ہر جگہ پہ لائٹنگ ہوتی ہے، ہر جگہ چراغ جلتے ہیں، اس بی بی کی قبر پہ کوئی چراغ جلانے کی اجازت نہیں ہے. کوئی اجازت نہیں دیتا کہ وہاں پہ رویا جا سکے. دل کرتا ہے نا کہ ایک مرتبہ انسان اپنے جسم کو اس خاک پہ لگائے، اپنے چہرے پہ وہ خاک ملے کہ جو بی بی کی قبر کی ہے، لیکن کوئی اجازت نہیں دیتا کہ بی بی کی قبر پہ جا سکے. امام رضا علیہ السلام اپنے چاہنے والوں کو مختلف اشعار ہیں امام کے. جب ایک مرتبہ ایک بہت بڑے شاعر نے ایک مرثیہ کہا نا، امام کے لیے اشعار کہے، تو کہا کہ مولا میں نے آپ کے سارے اجداد کے لیے کہا ہے، کس کی شہادت کیسے ہوئی، کوئی نجف میں ہے، کوئی کربلا میں ہے، کوئی جنت البقیع میں اور کوئی کاظمین میں. امام نے کہا میں تیرے اس مرثیے کے اندر کچھ اشعار کے اندر میں اضافہ کر دوں. کہا مولا آپ میرے مرثیے میں کچھ اضافہ کیجئے گا، بہت بڑی بات ہے، شکریہ. امام نے کہا وَقَبْرٌ بِطُوسٍ يَا لَهَا مِن مُصِيبَةٍ. تو امام نے کہا ایک طوس میں قبر ہے، ایک خراسان میں مشہد میں قبر ہے جس کی مصیبت بہت زیادہ ہے، اور اس کے مصائب اتنے زیادہ ہیں کہ جب تک امام مہدی کا ظہور نہیں ہوگا امام رضا یہی کہیں گے میں تنہا ہوں، میں اکیلا ہوں. تو کہا کہ مولا یہ مشہد میں کس کی قبر ہے، مجھے تو معلوم ہی نہیں ہے. کہا ہے نہیں، وہاں پہ میری قبر بنے گی. کہا وہاں پہ قبر بنے گی. کہا کہ میری قبر بنے گی. کہا کہ اچھا مولا آپ کی قبر ہوگی. کہا ہاں میری قبر مشہد میں بنے گی. کہا مولا آپ نے کیوں کہا کہ غریب ہوں گے؟ کہا کیونکہ میرا کوئی بھی، نہ میرے اجداد میں میرے پاس ہوگا، نہ میرا کوئی بیٹا میرے پاس ہوگا، میں بالکل اکیلا ہوں گا، میں تنہا ہوں گا. آج غریب الغربا کو سلام پیش کریں گے. آج جب پیش کریں کس کو پرسہ دیں گے؟ آج جناب فاطمہ سلام اللہ علیہ سے کہیے گا بی بی آج آپ کو آپ کی بیٹی امام رضا کا پرسہ پیش کرنے آئے ہیں. 3 تاریخ میں بہنیں ہیں جو بھائیوں کے ساتھ گئیں. جناب موسیٰ کی بہن ہے، امام حسین کی بہن جناب زینب ہے، امام رضا کی بہن جناب فاطمہ معصومہ ہیں، جو بھائی کی محبت میں آئی ہیں. بھائیوں سے بڑی محبت ہوتی ہے بہنوں کو، لیکن اگر بہن جانتی ہو نا کہ بھائی خراسان میں بہت دور ہے، سارے بھائیوں کو بہنوں کو کہا چلو ہم بھائی سے ملنے چلتے ہیں. راستے میں سب کو شہید کر دیا گیا اور وہ سب کے سب مارے گئے. بس بھئی کچھ بھائیوں کیسے شہید کیا میں اس کی تفصیلات میں نہیں جاتا. تو آئے حضرات امام رضا علیہ السلام، کیا عالم ہے، تنہائی ہے. ایک امام علیہ السلام ہے، ہر باپ کی چاہت ہوتی ہے جب وہ مر رہا ہو نا تو اس کا بیٹا پاس ہو، اور جب وہ مرے تو اپنے بیٹے کے گود میں ہو، بیٹا اس کے سر کو اپنے ہاتھوں میں پکڑے کہے کہ بابا آج آپ کو زہر دے دیا گیا ہے. ہر باپ یہی چاہتا ہے. لیکن میدان کربلا میں امام سجاد تھے، لیکن امامت کی چاہتے تھے کہ میں اپنے بابا کے جا کے سر کو پکڑوں، میں اپنے بابا کے سنبھالوں، لیکن جناب سید سجاد کو مہلت نہیں دی جا رہی تھی. وہ اس وقت بیمار تھے، اللہ کی طرف سے بیمار کر دیا تھا تاکہ کہیں امامت ختم نہ ہو جائے، تو محفوظ رکھنے کے لیے ان کی جان کی حفاظت کے لیے بیمار تھے. لیکن روایت کے الفاظ ہیں کہ جناب سیدہ کی روح موجود تھی. بار بار بی بی اپنے دونوں ہاتھ امام حسین کی گردن پہ رکھتی تھی، کہتی تھی پروردگارا میں نے چکیاں پیس کے پالا تھا، پروردگارہ یہ کتنے خنجر مارے ہیں شمر نے، تو پروردگارہ کتنی مظلومیت ہے. بس بھی امام رضا کا بھی آخری وقت ہے، بار بار کہہ رہے ہیں اے خواجہ ابسلت ہروی مجھے مامون نے بلایا ہے، مامون مجھے زہر دے دے گا، جب زہر دے گا نا اور میں اپنے چہرے پہ ایک رومال رکھ کے آؤں، میرے ہاتھ میں ایک رومال ہو، تو سمجھ جانا کہ مجھے زہر دے دیا گیا ہے۔ اس وقت مجھے بار بار قے ہوگی، مجھے بار بار میرا جو زہر دیا جائے گا، میرا جگر آئے گا، مجھے خون کی قے ہوگی، تو کہا اس وقت مجھ سے بات نہ کرنا، بس میرے لیے اہتمام کر دینا۔ اور خواجہ یاد رکھو میں امام ہوں، امام کو غسل و کفن ایک امام دیتا ہے، میرا بیٹا محمد تقی آئے گا۔ کہا مولا وہ مدینے میں ہے، کہا اللہ اس کو معجزے سے یہاں پہنچائے گا، کہا جب وہ آئے گا نا تو اسے میرے حجرے میں آنے دینا، وہی مجھے غسل و کفن دے گا، وہی مجھے ہنود دے گا، وہی میرا جنازہ پڑھائے گا۔ کہا خواجہ تم پرواہ نہ کرنا، کوئی غسل و کفن نہ کرنا۔ خواجہ ابا سلط ہروی کہتے ہیں تھوڑی دیر میں امام علیہ السلام آئے، جب امام علیہ السلام آئے نا تو ان کے چہرے پہ رومال تھا، میں سمجھ گیا امام کو زہر دے دیا گیا ہے، آنکھوں میں آنسو تھے۔ کہا مولا یہ آنسو کس بات سے ہیں؟ کہا خواجہ میرا بیٹا بہت دور ہے، میرا بیٹا بہت چھوٹا ہے، میرے بعد اس کو بڑے مصائب دیکھنے پڑیں گے۔ ایک جملہ یہاں پہ آپ کو کہوں، امام حسین بھی یہی سوچتے ہوں گے نا، میری ایک 4 برس کی بچی پہ کتنے ظلم ہوں گے، کتنے تماچے لگیں گے، کانوں سے بالیاں چھینی جائیں گی۔ آج رکم اللہ، بس بھئی جملے سن لیجیے، آخری جملے پیش کر رہا ہوں۔ اتنے میں امام رضا علیہ السلام کی شہادت ہو گئی، تسبیح و تحلیل کی آواز آ رہی تھی، امام تسبیح پڑھ رہے تھے، تسبیح کی آواز بند ہو گئی۔ جیسی تسبیح کی آواز بند ہوئی نا تو خواجہ ابا سلط ہروی سمجھ گئے امام کی شہادت ہو گئی، تو خواجہ ابا سلط ہروی رونے لگے، گریہ کرنے لگے، کہا کہ ہمارے امام، ہم امام سے بھی محروم ہو گئے، آج میں یتیم ہو گیا۔ کہنے لگے آج ہم یتیم ہو گئے، آج دنیا کے شیعہ یتیم ہو گئے کیونکہ امام رضا علیہ السلام چلے گئے ہیں۔ بس خواجہ رو ہی رہے تھے، اپنے سارے دروازے بند کر کے رو رہے تھے، اچانک دیکھا کہ کوئی حجرے کے اندر موجود ہے۔ کہا کہ آپ کون ہیں، کہاں سے آئے ہیں اور اندر کیسے آئے ہیں؟ میں نے تو دروازے کو بند کر رکھا تھا۔ کہ وہ خدا جو مجھے مدینے سے مشہد پہنچا سکتا ہے، وہ مجھے مشہد کے اندر آنے کے بعد حجرے میں بھی پہنچا سکتا ہے۔ خواجہ ابا سلط میرے بابا نے تمہیں بتایا تھا، میں اپنے بابا کے غسل و کفن کے لیے آیا ہوں، تم باہر انتظار کرنا۔ بس بھئی میرا دل کہتا ہے کہ جب امام رضا علیہ السلام کو غسل دے رہے ہوگا نا ایک بیٹا امام محمد تقی، بڑی تعظیم سے غسل دیا جاتا ہے، جنت سے کافور نازل ہوا ہوگا، جنت سے پانی نازل ہوا ہوگا، کفن کا کپڑا آیا ہوگا، تو امام محمد تقی علیہ السلام ایک بات سوچ رہے ہوں گے، بابا آپ کے لیے تو کفن جنت کا کپڑا آ گیا آپ کے کفن کے لیے، بابا ایک میدان کربلا میں بھی ہمارے جد تھے، جب ان کو گھوڑے دوڑائے گئے لاشے پہ، اور 11 محرم کو امام سجاد علیہ السلام نے اپنے بابا حسین کے لاشے کو دیکھا تو ایک بیٹا بار بار کہتا تھا پھوپھی اماں خدا کسی غیرت مند بیٹے کو ایسا وقت نہ دکھائے، جوان بیٹا ہو، بوڑھے باپ کا لاشا ریت پہ پڑا ہو، باپ کو دفنانے کی اجازت نہ ہو۔ بس ایک مرتبہ امام رضا علیہ السلام کو غسل دیا، امام محمد تقی علیہ السلام نے غسل دیا، کفن دیا، تیار کیا، جنازہ پڑھایا۔ کہا خواجہ میں نے جنازہ پڑھا دیا ہے، جب یہاں سے تابوت اٹھایا جائے گا نا امام کو دفنانے کے لیے لے جائیں گے تو کہا کہ بتا دینا میں نے جنازہ پڑھا دیا ہے۔ خواجہ ایک اور بات یاد رکھو، قبر پہلے سے تیار ہوگی، امام رضا علیہ السلام کے لیے خاص جگہ پہ قبر تیار ہے مشہد میں۔ کہا وہ کوشش کرے گا مامون کہ ہارون کی پشت کی طرف دفنائے گا، لیکن وہاں پہ میرے بابا کی قبر تیار نہیں ہوگی۔ بس امام محمد تقی نے وصیت کی، بتا دیا قبر پہلے سے تیار ہوگی، ایک مرتبہ زمین میں جب تم پھوڑا مارو گے تو قبر تیار ملے گی۔ کہا اچھا امام سے، کہا اچھا مولا، کہا میں واپس جا رہا ہوں، میں نے غسل و کفن کر دیا، میں جا رہا ہوں حضرات، بس میں 1-2 جملے کو پیش کروں گا، میں نے زحمت کو تمام کر دیا۔ حضرات امام محمد تقی علیہ السلام نے اپنے بابا کو غسل و کفن بھی بڑی تعظیم سے دیا، اپنے بابا کا جنازہ بھی پڑھایا اور بڑے احترام کے ساتھ واپس آ گئے۔ لیکن جب 11 محرم کو امام سجاد علیہ السلام جا رہے تھے تو اس وقت بار بار تڑپتے تھے، مولا کہتے تھے جب میں نے پشتے ناکا سے اونٹ کی پشت سے اپنے بابا کے جسد کو دیکھا نا تو مجھے پھپھیوں کا پردہ بھی بھول گیا۔ کہ پھپھی اماں میرے بابا کے جنازے پہ گھوڑے دوڑائے گئے، پھپھی اماں کبھی بھی خدا کسی کے ساتھ ایسا نہ کرے، کوئی بیٹا اپنے باپ کے جنازے کو اس حالت میں نہ چھوڑے۔ امام رضا گئے، جب 13 محرم کو واپس آئے تو امام سجاد علیہ السلام کس انداز سے آئے، جب واپس آئے نا تو وہاں بنی اسد کھڑے تھے جنازوں کو دفنانے کے لیے، کیسے جنازے دفنائے جائیں۔ تو روایت کے الفاظ ہیں امام سجاد ایک مرتبہ چلتے ہوئے سارے لاشوں کے درمیان میں سے اپنے آپ کو جا کے ایک لاشے کے کنارے گرایا، کہا بابا آپ کے بعد مجھے طوق پہنایا گیا، مجھے زنجیریں پہنائی گئی، بابا میری پھپھیوں کی چادریں چھینی گئی، بابا سکینہ کے کانوں سے بالیاں نوچی گئی۔ بس بھئی امام نے بیان شروع کیے، پھر ایک ایک کر کے سب کا بتایا کس کو کہاں دفنایا جائے. پھر کہا سب پیچھے ہٹ جاؤ, معصوم کو صرف معصوم قبر میں اتارے گا, ہٹ جاؤ. لیکن روایت کے الفاظ ہیں کہ ایک مرتبہ ایک چٹائی پہ سارے کے سارے امام حسین کے اعضاء کو جمع کیا امام سجاد نے. نہ جانے کس انداز سے اعضاء کو جمع کیا ہوگا, پوری چٹائی پہ سارے جسم کے ٹکڑوں کو رکھا. پھر کہا کہ سب ہٹ جاؤ. ایک مرتبہ آواز کا یا جدہ یا رسول اللہ میری مدد کیجئے گا. پھر کہا نجف کی طرف رک کر کے یا جدہ یا علی المرتضی. پھر سب کو بلایا. بعض علماء کہتے ہیں کہ جب امام حسین کو دفنا رہے تھے نا تو کٹے ہوئے گلے کے نیچے رسول خدا نے ہاتھ رکھے تھے, ٹوٹی ہوئی پسلیوں کے نیچے علی مرتضی نے ہاتھ رکھے تھے, ٹانگوں کے نیچے امام حسن مجتبی نے. امام سجاد قبر میں اترے, کہا لائیے میرے بابا کا جنازہ دے دیجئے. میں کہوں گا جب امام رضا کو دفنا رہے تھے تو ایک مرتبہ بڑی شان و شوق سے جنازہ اٹھا تھا. امام محمد تقی نے بتایا خواجہ تم دیکھو گے میں قبر میں موجود ہوں گا, بس جنازہ دے دینا. میں کہوں گا اے امام محمد تقی نہ آپ کے ہاتھوں میں زنجیریں ہیں, نہ آپ کے گلے میں توق ہے, نہ آپ کو تازیانے مارے جا رہے ہیں. الا لعنت اللہ علی القوم الظالمین وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون. ابھی اس سے پہلے کہ ماتم کے لیے آپ کھڑے ہوں مختصر سے دعا کراؤں گا. پروردگارا واسطہ ہے, شب شہادت ہے امام رضا علیہ السلام کی, امام رضا کا واسطہ ہم سب کو امام زمانہ کا ظہور دیکھنا نصیب فرما. پروردگارا ہم سب کی عاقبت بخیر فرما, ہم سب کو ایمان پہ موت عنایت فرما. پروردگارا ہمارے مرحومین کے درجات کو بلند فرما. پروردگارا شام کے اور ہمارے تمام مقامات مقدسہ کی حفاظت فرما, شام کے روضوں کی حفاظت فرما. جناب زینب کبریٰ, جناب رقیہ, جناب سکینہ سب کے روضوں کی حفاظت فرما. پروردگارا جتنے مومنین بے اولاد ہیں سب کو اولاد عنایت فرما. مقروضوں کے قرضوں کا ادا فرما, پریشان حالوں کی پریشانیاں دور فرما. متمنیان حج و زیارات کو حج و زیارات نصیب فرما. پروردگارا جتنے افراد نے ہم سے التماس سے دعا کی ہے سب کی دعائیں مستجاب فرما. پروردگارا تجھے واسطہ ابن عزت و جلال کا ہم سب کو ہماری گنہگار آنکھوں کو امام زمانہ کی زیارت نصیب فرما. پروردگارا جتنے بھی یہ دشمنان اہل بیت ہیں پروردگارا ان سب کو غارت فرما. پروردگارا چاہے شام میں ہوں, عراق میں حالات بہت خراب ہیں, بحرین میں, افغانستان میں, پاکستان میں, پروردگارا تمام زائرین کی, تمام مؤمنین کی, عزاداروں کی حفاظت فرما. ربنا تقبل منا انك انت السميع العليم بحق محمد وآلہ الطیبین الطاہرین المعصومین. ماتم حسین.